But then the other question is, okay, what types of suspicious activity should we be looking for? And, if you want to look at these, at the SAR itself, again, you start educating your folks on structuring. Who is in a position to be on the lookout for structuring? Number 32 there. And there's really some helpful information just in the SAR form that you can use for training to let folks know what they're supposed to be looking at. Somebody alters or cancels a transaction and because of that BSA requirement. Do your tellers know that that's something that they should be reporting? And so there's some really interesting things there. Look at number 34 on the page there. So fraud, there's a lot of different types of fraud that are out there. So, but you can go through and use this as a training mechanism so that they can say, okay, these are the types of products that might have fraud associated with them. Letter C on this page. This is the one I see missed a lot, loan fraud. There are a lot of lenders who run into loan fraud. Somebody is falsifying information, or they're lying to the lender, or they're committing some other kind of fraud, and they don't really report it because they just see it. Okay, I caught this person. They were trying to pull a fast one on the bank, and they never actually report it as suspicious or unusual activity. Keep in mind, loan fraud is a crime, and that's something that should be filtering up into your system. Little things like Ponzi schemes or pyramiding schemes, you might run across some of those. But I always get questions. What's the difference between a Ponzi scheme and a pyramiding scheme when I'm going through and checking this box? Well, a Ponzi scheme, that is, think of that as an investment scheme. It's the Ponzi scheme is where you go out and you get investors, and people invest into whatever your scheme is. But then you use future investors. You take money from other investors. You use that money from other investors to pay off the investors that came through first. So they think that they're getting some kind of dividend from their investment, but really it's a system where they're just getting more and more investors. They're giving money. The person on the top of the Ponzi scheme is taking money, but then they're paying out dividends to people, and it all falls apart once you run out of investors. Okay, Ponzi scheme. Pyramiding scheme's a little bit different. That's based on recruitment. So maybe it's a business opportunity, but you're recruiting people to do business on yourself. But really, the business model on a pyramiding scheme, nobody's making money on the product or service or whatever's going on. The money is all made on that recruitment side of things, and so so they're very similar. There's always somebody who's getting the money kind of on the top end. But a Ponzi scheme is about investments. Pyramiding scheme is really more about recruiting people to be a part of the business. And so that's kind of the difference there. Money laundering. So this next step, number 36 down here, as we're kind of going down page 21, again, using this as a training opportunity where you go through and say, okay, little things like if they're exchanging small bills for large bills, that could be a red flag somebody could be on the lookout for. Helping people understand what a funnel account is. Can't tell you how many people that I talk to, they have no idea what that funnel account checkbox is. And that's where you have an account where you get a lot of transactions into that one account from multiple different sources. And it's part of that layering process where they're moving money around in complicated fashions so that you lose track of whose it is. And then it goes into a funnel account so that they can actually use it. So watching out for that types of things. Suspicious condition of the cash. If you look at letter C there, if the money smells like marijuana or something along those lines, just the condition of the funds might be the start of an investigation, or simply just not being aware of where that money came from. So a lot of these check boxes can be used as training opportunities to go through and talk with your front line, make sure that they know what they should be on the lookout for. There's other suspicious activity going on to page 2, training folks to be on the lookout for elder financial exploitation, making sure that they understand the differences between human smuggling and human trafficking. Again, human smuggling is really a crime against a border. It is taking somebody across a border illegally. And that's usually a voluntary crime, and it ends as soon as that person crosses the border. Trafficking is a crime against a human. It's a crime against an individual. They are exploiting this person. A border doesn't have to be involved for it to be human trafficking. They are moving a person around for the purposes of exploiting them. And it's an ongoing exploitation. the crime doesn't end as soon as they cross a border. It's an ongoing thing, and making sure that your frontline folks who are monitoring for this type of thing, they know what they should be looking for, because there's two different types of criminal activities there. Again, insurance fraud, mortgage fraud, look at 41. That's a great section that you can use to help train your folks on what they should be on the lookout for in your mortgage department. Cyber events, again, we'll talk about those in more detail here in a little bit.